Hey everybody, welcome back to Esoteric Ramblings. I'm Jesse Arnold, and today I'm giving you my first thoughts reactions to Episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Everybody, welcome back. Thanks for watching. It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier Episode 2. I just finished watching that, and it picked up and ran with everything we set up last week. I think we finally get to... Minor spoiler alert, it is called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we finally get to see, Bucky and Sam come together in the episode. And, it was really great. Again, I won't do any real spoilers here until I put up the warning. The episode 1, I will spoil episode 1, so these are referencing previous episodes. So if you haven't watched previous episodes, I will be talking about previous episodes in the follow-up episodes of this. So, episode 1 ends with both Sam and Bucky in their separate locations seeing the reveal of the new Captain America. And we pick up with that this week as I guess it's some time has passed and we're seeing John Walker I guess he's been doing like a road tour of the country. I guess this is slightly spoiler, but it's the first scene or two of the episode, so I apologize. I'll stop that there to say it's nice to see Wyatt Russell like actually acting in this episode instead of just showing up and smiling and waving. Let's see, we get Sam and Bucky together, and their scenes together are fantastic. I know I laughed during WandaVision, but I laughed a lot during this episode. There's still a lot of high stakes action and drama going on in the show, but the two of them together was one of my favorite things in Civil War, how they're bickering in that little Volkswagen Beetle. And the playful rivalry between Sam and Bucky is one of the great things I like about these two characters, the way they're presenting them in this show and in the MCU. A lot of great performances. There are a couple little comic references and Easter eggs. A few I'm sure I probably missed. There's a couple that I know I'm very, very loosely aware of, but I was like, oh, hey, that's a thing. As I've said before, I am not an end-all, be-all knowledge of Marvel Comics or anything in general, but I love them, I like them, I'm loving these shows and the movies, so I can't wait. This is a really good episode. I think it's definitely like laying ground in this episode. There's not a whole lot. I mean, there's a lot accomplished in this. We get to see a lot of things play out, but I will not spoil any of those at this point. Henry Jackman's doing a great job with the score. I really enjoy a lot of other things I've heard from him as a composer. Cast and crew are doing a great job. I mean, this definitely fits right in with the rest of the MCU, quality, looks-wise, acting-wise. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. I guess I don't know if I didn't do my research to double check names, but the agent or soldier who's helping Falcon in episode 1, I guess I completely missed that he's one who becomes Falcon later on. And if it's who I'm thinking is, he's got a rough road ahead of him. I could be wrong though. At least if they follow some of the comic stories, but we'll see. That said, spoilers are coming. Spoilers are here. So as I started to say, this week's episode starts off with John Walker having doing a tour, kind of like Captain America did in the first Avenger, where he's touring the cities, and they've got a new rendition of the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan, the theme song, or I guess just the Star-Spangled Man, as he runs out onto the football field. If you've seen the trailers, that's what this is all about. It's his hometown. So you get to see a little bit of his personal relationship dynamic with, I'm assuming it's his wife, maybe it's his girlfriend, and then his partner from the military. I believe he was in the Army. I don't know if they specifically said which branch of the armed forces he was in, but he's definitely a soldier, and I'm happy that they set him up to be, for all intents and purposes, like he should be a guy people like. He seems like he's I don't want to say like an exemplary soldier, but he's seems like he's doing these things for the right reasons. He was successful in a lot of his missions, and he's been through some stuff. He's not just a publicity stunt. At least he doesn't appear to think he is, and so I like that. I like that he's a character that, other than the fact that he's got Steve's shield, I should really be rooting for him. He seems like a decent guy, and I hope that gets to play out. I don't mind if he's an obstacle for Sam and Bucky, but I hope he's not an enemy for Steve and Bucky. They definitely set some tension up with him and them as he kind of actually runs into them a couple times throughout the episode. And they are calling him Captain America. They're not calling him U.S. Agent as of yet, anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see where all of this goes. But I really like Wyatt Russell's performance as John Walker, and his partner, which I didn't know this. I definitely did not know this. When I heard the code name, I was like, oh, I think I've heard of that. So this is one of those things that I didn't know about. His partner is Lamar Hoskins, who I had to look up. I was like, he's got to be somebody, and because he drops the code name of Battlestar. So yeah, he's another Marvel character that I'm meeting for the first time, or at least re-meeting. I've never read a lot of Captain America until like the last 10 years or so. I was always about X-Men. X-Men was pretty much the only thing I wanted. Maybe a little bit of Spider-Man here and there, but it was pretty much X-Men all the way when I was a kid. So I ignored pretty much the rest of the Marvel Universe. Unless they were dragged into an event that crossed over with the X-Men and stuff. So, yeah. That said, we also get to meet another character from Marvel Comics who I am aware of. I've never read the story, and I probably should rectify that. But like I said, I wasn't reading anything outside X-Men for a long time. Probably, like I said, until about 10 years ago or so. Oddly, in conjunction with the movies coming out, and the movies made me, especially Thor, made me want to know more about the comic versions of these characters, Thor and Captain America especially. So those, I started getting into some here and there. I'm rambling, which is the whole point, but they introduce I just lost his name. They did a series called Truth after the Wolverine series called Origin, where it went back and told Wolverine's origin because Marvel Comics wanted to get that out before the movies did. So then they went back and did a story called Truth, which I believe came after Origin, where it's kind of retconning the past, but also just giving you a story that you might just not have had access to. So it's not necessarily changing the past. So retcon might be too harsh of a word. But there's a series called Truth, which I'm admitting I didn't read, and I'm not going to try to do it the justice it deserves. But they introduce Isaiah Bradley, I believe is his name, Isaiah Bradley, who was one of, I believe, I saw a couple hundred African-American men who were tested on to become super soldiers, I believe before Steve Rogers even got it. So it was really cool to see him, and the way they set it up was a very powerful scene, because the MCU has been very light on some political real world issues, and don't necessarily need those movies to mimic everything in life, but when they ignore things that are realistic, it's kind of jarring. And a friend pointed it out to me last week, and now that it was pointed out, I can't not see that racial issues have not been, everybody's just been fine with everything. And in the MCU, at least as far as the heroes are concerned, and even with last week's episode, there's a couple things that my friend pointed out that, were very racially motivated things in the real world, but maybe not portrayed as such in the show. So they didn't sidestep around that in this episode. There was definitely at least some acknowledgement of it. I'm sure they could go deeper and harder. I know the Watchmen TV show, again, I have not watched it yet, but they've had a lot of things like that there. Second season of Umbrella Academy deals with a lot of this. And I think to good results for both the storytelling of the shows and for helping make people more aware of things. So it was just interesting. I won't want to spoil the whole moment, that whole scene, but it's really cool to see that has come into it at least a little bit in a Disney Marvel show, and yeah. But there's a lot of great action. Sam and Bucky go on their first mission together, or at least they go together, not necessarily assigned together, and we get to find out a little bit more about the Flag Smashers and what their group is all about. And then another reference to a Marvel character that I was vaguely aware of when I heard the name, and I'm not even going to pretend that I know anything about them, but they mention a character called the Power Broker, who is coming after the Flag Smashers as well. So we'll see how this plays out. And of course, they pay off reintroducing Zemo, and at least the idea of Zemo in this episode. So we know from the trailers that he shows up and he gets to don that classic purple lined mask. So I can't wait to see him show up, which is something I never thought as a comic fan I would ever say. I'm excited to see Baron Zemo show up in a movie, but here we are and I'm saying it. So all in all, great episode. Marvel, Disney Plus just keep knocking it out of the park with these shows, and it's making me really excited for Black Widow, which I'll admit I will probably do the Disney Access and watch it from home, just because I don't really enjoy going to the movie theater anymore, and that has nothing to do with COVID and distancing issues and all that. The theaters I go to around here are always... Maybe I have too high a standards for what I expect out of the movie theaters, but I just don't enjoy the theater experience anymore, which is a shame because I always loved going to the movies. But we'll see. We'll see. Not completely ruling it out, but if I do the Disney Plus, I'll get to watch it with my mom and do a phone call and watch that with her. So anyway, I'm excited for the rest of Falcon Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Loki's coming out. Lots of great Marvel content coming out. Bad Batch is coming soon to Disney Plus as well in May 4th. And hey, talking about things that aren't Marvel related but superhero and comic related, I did check out the first 2 episodes of Invincible, which I'll do a reaction to over the weekend. First 2 episodes of Invincible on Amazon Prime or Prime Video, whatever it's called. And having read the whole comic series, I was really pleased with the execution of the show. It's a really interesting style of animation. It's somewhere between, it feels like it's somewhere between like classic, like 80s, 90s style animation mixed with a little bit of an anime influence. So I'm really excited to see, I keep saying that, I gotta come up with a better way to say things. I'm easily excitable. I just get really excited to see things I love being reinterpreted in different ways, as long as it's not a horrible and depressing mess. Unless it's supposed to be a horrible and depressing mess. And in that case, good job on whoever adapted that correctly. But yeah, Invincible was great. First 2 episodes. Anybody watching who has kids or younger folks at home, it is not a show for children. It is written by Robert Kirkman, who is the writer and creator of Walking Dead. It is his take on superheroes, and it looks like a fun kids cartoon when you look at the animation, but it's definitely a mature audience's show. It is one of the most violent, brutal comic stories I have ever read, and it does not look like they are skimping out on that in the show. So be warned if you watch it. It's not all the time, but when it happens, it is intense. And I love the voice cast on that. But I'm getting too far into that. I'm going to do its own thing later on. So that's it for Falcon Winter Soldier Episode 2, Star-Spangled Man. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great weekend or whatever time it is that you watch this. And I'll catch you later for some other stuff on the Rambles. See you later. Ramble on.